I've phrogged for years, and I've learned that houses talk if you listen long enough, not with words, but with sounds. The soft tick of pipes cooling after midnight, the tremor of floorboards when someone walks too slowly, the shallow breathing through vents. That tells you who's asleep and who's pretending. You could say I've become part of the background, a living ghost inside walls, surviving off what people forget to lock away. You'd be amazed at how little people notice, how blind they are to small things like a loaf of bread missing, a light flicked off when they swore they left it on, or the faint smell of cigarette smoke when no one in the house smokes. I've lived behind polished walls, beneath squeaky staircases, inside hollow basements, and no one has ever caught me. But then there was this family. They were supposed to be another easy mark. Quiet, rural, far from neighbors. The kind of people who kept curtains drawn in minds to themselves. The perfect type to phrogue. When I first entered their home through the attic vent, everything smelled too new freshly sanded wood and detergent. No dust. No junk. Just space. Too much space. I sat up in the crawl space above their bedroom, the air thick with insulation fibers that stuck to my skin and made every breath sting. It was tight, dark, and perfect for vanishing. That first night I listened. As primera alwa yizdo, mapping out the rhythm of the house, their sounds, their movements, but their rhythm was wrong. The father's steps were steady yet too even, like he was pacing for effect. The mother never spoke above a whisper, and the daughter, if she really was there, daughter never once cried, laughed, or even coughed. Just silence, broken by the scraping of silverware across plates at exactly 7 each evening. That mechanical calm felt less like a family and more like a performance. Days turned to weeks. I survived on their leftovers, moving only when their routines allowed. Every night after they slept, I'd slip down 4 crumbs, water, a slice of bread. But sometimes, when I thought they were gone, I'd hear something from the room's bellows, dragging murmurs that didn't match their voices. Once, I peeked through the vent to the living room and saw the father sitting in his armchair, staring at a blank TV. The mother was on the floor beside him, eyes open and wide, holding his hand like she was waiting for something. The girl was in the corner, cutting something into small squares and stacking them. Her skin looked wrong under the light, too pale, almost translucent. By morning, the paper squares were gone, replaced by neat jars on the counter, each filled with what I thought was paper, but realized was hair brown, blonde, black-oiled. Tight inside, I told myself not to care. I'd seen strange things, but that night, when I opened the fridge, it wasn't normal food. Containers lined the shelves, each labeled with dates. Left arm, right ear, Augus's mother. Inside, raw, flesh-colored shapes floated in jelly. I gagged quietly and shut it, telling myself it was animal meat. But the next morning, the girl was missing 3 fingers. She didn't cry or flinch, just ate soup while her mother stirred tea, and her father said, "We're almost done now." My chest went tight. I should have left then. But leaving takes timing, silence, and luck. I waited for nightfall, but silence never came. That night the air shifted. Every sound felt deliberate, the creak of a stair, the groan of pipes, a breath behind the walls. I held still, pressing against the insulation, feeling fibers sting my lips. Then I heard the ladder unfold, the attic ladder. My pulse hammered so loud I thought they'd hear it. The father's voice rose softly. "You've been quiet long enough. We thought you'd introduce yourself sooner." I didn't move, didn't breathe. Then his hand appeared through the gap, sliding in a small plate. On it was a jar with my name on it. Daniel. I hadn't used that name in years. The jar was filled with cloudy liquid, and floating inside was something small and pale, or something that used to be one. His voice came again, gentle. "It's polite to say thank you." I bolted through the vents, crawling downward into the dark, lungs burning, mind screaming. The deeper I went, the colder it got, until I reached the basement. Floran froze. The air reeked of bleach and rot. Rows of jars lined the wall, labeled with names and dates. Some looked ancient, others fresh. On the far wall was a photo board, my photos. Every house I'd ever phrogged. Newspaper clippings, Breckons, disappearances. Someone had tracked me for years. I wasn't their intruder. They were mine. I don't know how long I stayed down there. Time dissolved. Their footsteps above were slow, rehearsed, moving in circles. I tried the door locked, the window boarded. My flashlight flickered out, leaving only the faint light bleeding through cracks. I heard whispering through the vent soft, steady, familiar. I crawled under the stairs and found a hatch. Inside were mattresses, clothes, shoes, piles of belongings, men's shirts, children's dresses all sorted, folded, trophies. The jars weren't for them, they were for others. Every victim they'd lured in. I found a Polaroid wedged in the wall, a man's face, taped mouth, wide eyes. Behind the cameretta, father, calm and smiling. The girl beside him, grinning. I dropped it as blood hit the floor. I looked up, something heavy, dragged above me, then silence again. I waited 4 hours, until I heard their car leave. I ran for the door, kicked it open, splintered my foot, and burst into sunlight. I didn't stop running. I reached a gas station miles away, bleeding and filthy. The clerk stared and asked what happened. Primera, told Im. He frowned and said, "That place has been empty for years." I begged him to call the police, he said quietly. "You're not the first one to say that." The police went that night. They found nothing, no furniture, no photos, just empty jars and claw marks. They didn't believe me, thought I was delusional. Let me go. But I know what I saw, and I know they're not gone. Every time I take a new house, something's already waiting. A jar in the fridge, a chair turned wrong, a mirror with prints that don't match mine. I stopped eating their food. I stopped staying twice. But it's no use. I think they want me to keep moving to spread something. Sometimes I dream of that attic, that jar, that voice whispering, "Thank you," when Promeda woke up, the air smells like bleach and rot again. I think they collect people like me, drifters, hidden ones, frogs. They let us enter, let us feed, then harvest what's left. Maybe that's how they stay unseen, turning the unseen into ghosts. The last jar I opened held something that blinked back at me. I smashed it, but it folded instead of breaking. They're watching. Maybe through mirrors. Maybe through me. Maybe I never left that house. Maybe I'm still in their walls, telling this story because they want me to. If you're hearing this, lock your doors tonight. Don't trust silence. If a vent rattles, if a jar appears, if the air smells like bleach, leave. Don't look back, because once they know your name, they'll find you. And when they do, you won't know which side of the wall you're on. Soft breath, faint dripping, creaking floor, static hum. You're not alone in your house. You just think you are.